Evelyn to Phil, November 8th, 1942, 4:15 p.m. Precious darling, I was so knocked out that I was in bed and sleeping by 9:30 Friday night. Jack N. has decided to work only 40 hours a week for Murrin Balabans because the boss jerks him around too much about the salary and hours. Having Saturday off, he decided to look for something else. He arose early and drove me to Miss Hahn's before applying for the position. I only worked 3 hours and was home at 1 o'clock, about $4 richer. The $4 didn't last long, though. I paid Mom for the Middletown call, plus 25 cents I owed her. I contributed $1.50, as did Ruthie, from my dad's birthday gift, which was a white shirt and socks. He was genuinely surprised, for I had been in and out of the house all day long without mentioning or letting on that I knew it was his birthday. In the late afternoon, I bought an appropriate birthday greeting and delivered the package. When I returned from, quote, work, end quote, Jack N. was already home. He's going to try out a new job in the evenings and Saturday for a while. He drove me to Broad Street to shop for Mom and helped me. He left for New York about 5 p.m. He had to meet Frances, who bought her a lovely corsage, who was going to accompany him part of the way. Myra came over and brought the bra I asked her to get for me. She wouldn't accept any money, saying it was coming to me, which I thought was very nice of her. Do you think I am deserving, dearest? It's size 34 and fits beautifully, so your wifey is well on her way to being a, quote, sweater girl, unquote. Ahem. Dottie called while I was at Broad Street and was supposed to call again. I was sitting in the kitchen with Mom and Myra looking at the clock near 8 bells. I took a deep breath when the telephone rang, hoping, Angel, that it would be you. Sure enough, it was my sweetie pie. I'll bet I surprised you this time with my almost unending loquaciousness. 2 bits, please. But the news, page 2, was all good, and I was unusually enthusiastic about having received my check. I turned the $50 over to my mom, telling her to keep it till the day I'm to be discharged from the hospital, and made Mom buy a bond. We owe her $117. I told her to make it $120, keep the $5 extra toward the bond, and consider the $3 extra as interest for waiting so long. I hope you don't mind this arrangement, since the $5 is really yours. Please, honey, if your Army pay comes through, send a portion of it home so you will not have more than $10 at a time on your person. If ever you need money quickly, you can call me and I'll gladly send whatever you need. I've been sleeping alone for the past few days. Since Harry is on night work, Jack N. sleeps on the studio couch and Mom in her bed. It's better all around for all of us. Myra told us that her dad and Mom are receiving allotments, and I understand that Tante Shuj can also get it. Girls are not forced to support their parents as boys are. In each case, however, the only amount contributed by the government to a Class B dependent is $15. Benny would have to put aside $22, and his mom would get $37. I doubt if Harry Wyman could claim any allotment due to his large pay. I now have 38 circles for the bedspread, almost 39, and they more than cover the bed. 48 circles will be just right. 6:15. Uncle Sam and Pauline just arrived. I understand Yale has gained weight. He used to weigh 155. Now it's 173. Shirley also gained 8 pounds. Boy, married life surely does agree with them. Believe it or page 3 not, Jack S. gave me some pennies for the bank. I'm not working Monday and Wednesday, only Tuesday so far. I got out a lot of work and she needs time to catch up. It drizzled all day and was generally miserable. Adele, question mark, has been extremely active this weekend. I think she, question mark, is anxious to occupy her lovely new crib. I'm glad to hear you are enjoying yourself. Boy, you must have painted Columbus red. Sorry I couldn't be with you, baby. Jack and Gloria are using that pass I sent for tonight. Harry is out with page 4, Goldie as usual. The news this weekend concerning the war is something, isn't it? I love you, sweet Phil. Everyone is well and sends love. Always your Evie. P.S. Everyone was thrilled to talk to you via long distance. Philip to Evelyn, Sunday, November 8th, 1942, 5 p.m. My darling Ev, after I talked to you last night, Jones and I played 6 games of ping pong, of which I won 5. They were darn good games as we're pretty evenly matched, and the table was about the best I've ever played on. When we finished playing, we were literally covered, drenched in our own perspiration. Earlier in the day, as I told you on the phone, we had seen the Ohio State Pitt game. After we ate, we played pool for about an hour. Jeff just couldn't beat me at anything. From the pool room, we wandered over to the Y where I called you, then the ping pong. We stuck around the lobby until we cooled off. Then, realizing we were very thirsty, we sought a tap room, of which Columbus has the mostest and the bestest, where we had a few beers. An old gentleman sitting next to me at the bar insisted I have, quote, one on him, end quote, and before I could remonstrate, I was staring a, quote, rum cooler, end quote, in the face. It's a mixture of Coca-Cola and rum, and so easy to drink, I was glad I hadn't had the opportunity to refuse. Then we got warm again and went outdoors. As we walked, we passed the VFW drum corps, which is nothing more nor less than a barroom with a small floor for dancing to the jukebox. We heard music, so we just wandered into page 2, see what was cooking. There was a room full of people old enough to know better, with a few younger girls interspersed. One cute number took an immediate fancy to Jeff and wasted no time getting introduced to him. She's no dummy because he's as cute in a boyish way as he is tall and athletic. But he's a boy at heart and just doesn't know what's expected of him. To add to the difficulty, he had just a few beers too many. He appealed to me to see that everything was taken care of, phone number, address, and so forth. So it was that while Jeff was trying to clear his senses over a glass of beer, and the damsel had retired temporarily from the attack to confer with her, quote, mother, end quote, at her table, and John Alden, that's me, kept an eye on both, that a drunk came over to harangue Jeff. Priscilla, that's Doris, chose this inopportune moment to return to the bar, where Jeff and I had our headquarters. Immediately, the drunk swerved his attention to her. She was extremely uncomfortable, and since Miles, that's Jeff, was too obtuse to notice the pins and needles Priscilla was standing on, the gallant John Alden stepped into the breach and whisked the fair maiden, question mark, onto the dance floor. Did I say whisked? What I really meant to say was dragged. For a gal with terrific legs, she was an extremely lousy dancer. The only smart thing Jeff did all night was to wander over to us, struggling pitifully to move our feet in a semblance of what is known as dancing, and suggest that we all get the hell out of there. We were so grateful for this out that we waited 5 minutes at the door to allow Jeff to, page 3, catch up. While we were dancing, question mark, Priscilla told me very frankly and without reservation that she liked Jeff and wanted to know him better. And would I take her address and phone number, and would I see to it that he call her the following morning? You know, sweet, I never could say no to a lady, especially one with pretty legs. Seriously, though, baby, she seemed a nice kid. After we had located a small restaurant where we could all sit down, we had time to talk. Jeff, being young and inexperienced, assumed a cynical and sarcastic attitude toward Doris, thinking it would impress her. A common fault, so I couldn't condemn him for it. The gal grew very confidential and told us her life's history. It seems she's working as a private secretary and spending all her money for flying lessons. Her burning ambition is to become a member of the Ferry Command. At first I was inclined to take her statements with a grain of salt, thinking that she too was trying to make an impression. But after a few searching questions, I determined that she was telling the truth. She has a heart condition that necessitates her taking strychnine pills and is scared to death this will prevent her from realizing her ambition. Anyhow, to make a long story short, when she hopped a cab for home, I had her address and phone number, and she had my solemn promise to have Jeff call her next morning. Jeff himself was too far gone to attend his own affairs. Thus ended a rather hectic Saturday. We rolled in about 2:30 a.m. and went right to bed. Page 4. I, for one, was exhausted, and the hard bunk felt like a feather bed. I woke at exactly 10:30 this morning. Jeff, who sleeps right across the aisle, was already up and stirring. I watched him while he searched systematically and endlessly through all his pockets. Finally, I took pity on the guy and asked him what the hell he was looking for. He mumbled something about phone number. In my most nonchalant manner, I said, "I got it." He looked at me stupidly for an instant. Then, when he got the drift, he smiled like a happy schoolboy. The result was that Miles hightailed it to the PX to call the seductive Priscilla. After we had lunch at the mess hall, he hopped a bus for Columbus. He promised to bring me some of the fudge they were going to spend the afternoon making. I know, I laughed too. After breakfast, John Alden, that's me, took a bath and lay down to continue sleeping where he had left off. The news of the American invasion of Africa coming over the radio so excited the boys that they made enough noise to wake the dead, and me. It was really thrilling news, baby, and I see the end in sight. Of course, the fighting's yet to be done, but the important thing is that it has started, and the result is a foregone conclusion. So I started to write this, and now, 6:30, I'm finished. More tomorrow, but today, all my love to my sweet wife. My best to all, your Phil.